Now, we all know that an overtired baby or toddler is going to be a nightmare. Overtiredness is something that's talked about a lot. We've all heard it. We ourselves experience it. I definitely know I get overtired when I stay up too late binge watching my shows on Netflix. But undertiredness can have just as much impact on your little one's sleep. Today I am answering your sleep question. If my baby is over or undertired, what impact is this going to have on their sleep? And in this video, I'm going to talk you through the commonly known overtiredness as well as undertiredness, what to watch out for and what you can do. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Nicky. I'm one of the founders of Little Ones and mother to 3 beautiful children. At Little Ones, we specialise in infant, toddler and child sleep and nutrition programs, which are found in our state-of-the-art mobile app. We have a huge team of qualified experts waiting and ready to help you, so please visit us at www.little-ones.co to find out more. Let's start with overtiredness. Now, quite simply, it is what it sounds like. Your little one is too tired. They've gone through ready for bed, tired, into this strange, horrific land of I'm way too tired to do anything except scream, especially if you have a younger baby. And I'll explain a bit about why that happens so you can really understand what's going on for your little one. So the younger the little one, the less wake time between sleeps their body is able to handle. So if they're awake for longer than they biologically should be, depending on their age, then they are going into fight or flight mode. And this is because cortisol, which as you know is the stress hormone that's really circling around in their body, their stress levels are really elevated, they're way too overstimulated, and their body is going into like a fight or flight adrenaline response. So the last thing on your little one's mind is sleep, even though that's the one thing they really need. So what this means is your little one is going to be screamy, they're going to be agitated, they might be rubbing their eyes, they'll be yawning lots. If they're an older baby or a toddler, they can even go into a realm of hyperactivity, and they might seem to get like a second wind is what we call it, and they suddenly seem super awake, like too awake. They might be zooming around, they might be talking heaps, but especially in a toddler and a young child, you can tell it's overtiredness because any little thing will set them off. So I know in my own children at that age, and to an extent even still with my 6-year-old, one tiny little thing like her toast having a rip in it is going to cause a monumental meltdown. And that is because she's in that fight or flight zone, which her instinct in that moment is to fight. She can't, there's no reason, there's no logic. Those older toddlers and younger children go into their, what we call the red brain, or their really sort of primitive, not emotional brain. And so they're just going to be fighting. In your baby, they're going to fight sleep. So they're going to be cranky, grumpy, whinging, and it will seem like nothing you can do can calm them down and get them to sleep. It's literally a nightmare. This is overtiredness, and it means your little one has just been awake for too long between naps. Their brain and their body cannot switch off. They want to sleep, it's what they actually desperately need, but they just can't do it. So what do you do about overtiredness? As I said, it's almost impossible to easily settle them to sleep. So you just have to pull out the big guns and do whatever it takes to get them to sleep. If you've got a little baby, that might be you just feed them until they're asleep. Put them in a front carrier, put them in a stroller or a pram and take them for a walk. Put them in the car and go for a drive. Just whatever it takes to get them to sleep. If your little one was previously happily just falling asleep independently, forget about the rules, forget about that, just actively settle them to sleep. Do whatever it takes to get them to sleep. because sleep is the thing they need at that point. If they are overtired, you've asked what impact this is going to have on their sleep, and overtiredness, and because of those stress hormones in your little one's body, unfortunately it does impact their sleep. It means that they're not really entering a deep restorative sleep. They're constantly sort of in a light, fight or flight, I'm asleep but I'm listening out for danger kind of mode. So it can mean really short naps, and it can mean very, very fractured nighttime sleep. This can become a bit of a cycle. We would call it an overtiredness cycle, because your little one is so tired, but then sleeping poorly because they're too tired to sleep well, and so they get more tired, and you can see how that over time you can get in a bit of a vicious cycle of just massive overtiredness. And by prevention, I mean making sure your little one doesn't get overtired. And if you've ever had an overtired baby or toddler, then if you're like me, you'll want to do everything you possibly can to make sure that that doesn't happen. So for your baby, I would be making sure, doubly sure, that their wake windows are really age appropriate. And if you need help with that, we've got all the answers for you in our sleep programs inside our app. We know it can be tricky and there's a lot of conflicting information out there, so we've done all the thinking for you. Inside our app you'll get age-specific schedules, wake windows, ideal nap structure, just to help you breeze through your day and hopefully avoid overtiredness in the first place. So now let's talk about undertiredness, because it's something that until recently, it hasn't really been talked about that much. We like to talk about it a lot because it is just as frustrating for your little one as overtiredness. Let me explain why. When your little one is undertired, they simply haven't been awake for long enough between their naps to be tired enough to nap well. So if you think about it as if you yourself, assuming that you're not a devastatingly overtired parent, you yourself say you had a nap at 5 p.m. in the evening. Now I know definitely for myself, if I just lay down and had a nap at that time of day, I would not be able to go to sleep at my normal bedtime of around 10, because I'd had a sleep just beforehand, and it sort of sabotages your nighttime sleep. Then I would end up staying up really late, and then I'm probably going to be tired and cranky the next day. This is undertiredness, and it's no different for our little ones. So in a young baby, what that looks like is you're trying to settle your little one to sleep after 45 minutes, after an hour of being awake, and they just haven't had enough awake time. They're just not tired enough yet. So they are going to resist going to sleep because they're simply not tired. It looks like overtiredness. That's the worst part. They can be cranky, difficult to settle. They might just be lying there staring at you, which I know is what my son did when he was a baby. This beautiful little boy, he would just lie there and stare at me with his huge blue eyes. And I'd get so frustrated, and I was thinking, why aren't you going to sleep? You've been awake for an hour. You're gonna get overtired. Hindsight, of course, is a wonderful thing, and he was undertired. And I should have just kept him up and kept him stimulated for a bit longer so that he could then be ready to take a really good sleep and settle a lot easier. This can definitely happen in toddlers and young children too, particularly if they're still having a daytime nap. So if your little one is, say, 3, which is sort of on the outside edge of needing a day sleep anyway, and they're still napping for 2 hours across the day, and you're trying to put them to bed at 7 o'clock at night, and they're mucking around for 2 hours, and they're getting out of bed 4,000 times and asking you why ducks don't have arms, then your little one is undertired, and you need to start cutting down on that nap, because their body clock is telling you that they've just had too much sleep. Also, the timing of our little one's naps can have an impact on whether they're undertired too. So if your little one is having a nap a bit too close to bedtime, and that's sort of regardless of their age really, and they're not settling well or easily at bedtime, that wake window was too short, and they've already had too much sleep just before bedtime, and so they're undertired in that situation too. So how do you fix undertiredness? Unlike overtiredness, it's actually a relatively straightforward fix. You simply need to extend your little ones' wake times and or slightly adjust when their naps are happening. And that can literally happen tomorrow. If you think your little one is undertired and they're not having enough awake time between naps, just extend it out. And maybe look at how close to bedtime their last nap of the day is, or their only nap of the day if they're just having one nap, and maybe pull that forward a little bit. Again, we have all of this completely mapped out for you from birth to 6 years old inside our app and our sleep program. And because it can be kind of tricky to get it right, and actually in young babies, their awake times need to be increasing week by week. And that's a tricky thing to try and figure out on your own. So have a look at our app and our sleep programs, and the link is below, and have a look at how we could help you through overtiredness, undertiredness, and getting those awake times right for your little one, no matter what their age is. So I hope that's given you a bit of guidance around overtiredness and undertiredness, which, to be honest, are probably the two biggest contributors to poor napping and poor nighttime sleep. For tons more information, make sure you check out our website. There are so many articles on there around these topics and loads others. So have a look at that. If you're interested, have a look at all the videos on our YouTube channel. There are millions of them. And don't forget to follow us on all our socials and also on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching today, and I'll talk to you again soon.